the next 6 nights, we are going to be exploring Tuscany, and we're starting our trip in Florence. If you've not seen any of the other videos before this, we are on our honeymoon through Italy, and we've been to Ischia, Rome, and now the last part in Tuscany, and we're starting in Florence. So we've got 3 days here to explore, and we started off by going to the Uffizi Gallery. It was meant to be a rainy day, so we thought it was a great opportunity to go and see a gallery. I think everyone else had the same idea.
Yeah, we'd booked it in advance because of the weather, and it was absolutely rammed full.
Yes, kind of too busy to enjoy it, unfortunately, but we are glad we went.
We saw some really cool stuff and then kind of made a swift exit.
Yes, we were pretty hungry after that.
Ponte Vecchio and towards lunch.
Yeah, we found this place beforehand. I found that they did vegan stuff, and it's the kind of like, the focaccia sandwiches are quite famous in Florence. It's a great lunch option, and there's loads of them in the city, but there is this one...
It was busy. It was super busy.
We did have to queue, yeah.
What's the name for walking around, Freya?
Passeggiata.
Passeggiata in the rain. I think one of the things that I really liked about Florence compared to the rest of the trip was a lot of it was just kind of like walking the streets and finding like little coffee bars or like cocktail bars like this one where we have the spritz.
It's a very walkable city, which is really what we loved. Like Rome in our other video is massive, but Florence was kind of a little bit more our speed, like moseying around, lots of little coffees and drinks.
I'm here for dinner. Just a nice little simple dinner.
Yes, we had some ingredients that we had left over from the night before in Rome, so we thought we'd cook again and have a bit of an early night because it was a busy long day.
The next morning we headed to this place that we found in one of our guidebooks, which is an Odeon cinema, but instead of just being a cinema, it's also this really gorgeous bookshop based in one of the screens. So you've got the whole theatre screen going on behind you whilst you're browsing just loads of really cool books.
And they also do cinema screenings as well in the evening. Just a really beautiful space. Like the cafe was gorgeous, great coffee, they had oat milk. Yeah, it was definitely one of the highlights. It felt like a real kind of like hidden gem. It wasn't too busy.
It was really nice visiting Florence on a weekend as well, because loads of these little markets had popped up. So this plant market was one of the most like
it felt very authentic
street markets that I've seen in a long time. Very authentic.
Obviously you're only buying plants if you live there, because no one's taking a plant home.
Yeah, you're not really flying that back, are you? Lunch, again, famous focaccia sandwiches, different place today, and we got it with a little glass of red wine. Yeah, we took it away.
We got very into having red wine with lunch, and I said I was going to do it when I got home, but I don't think we've done it since.
No, it just makes more sense in Italy.
It does. But we had a really nice afternoon, again, strolling around. We went to a lovely modern art gallery. We had like a few places that we'd seen in our guidebook. We'll link the one that we used. There I am reading it. It was really good. It was like just the right size, like not too overwhelming, and it meant that we could do a lot of wandering and kind of discovering stuff for ourselves, which is always really nice.
Yeah, that was really the theme of Florence, just wandering around. Also a lot of churches.
I mean, again, a theme of Italy. This one was cool though, because it was really different to any of the other ones we'd seen on our trip so far. Like the architecture, the design of it, like completely different to the ones in Rome.
It was much more cathedral-esque than just church. It was huge.
We didn't go inside though, because again, like the ones in Rome were all free. We didn't have to queue or anything, and we weren't really in a queuing mood.
Florence, very well known for its culture of passeggiata.
Italy in general, yeah. So we thought we'd do a bit of that, and where we were staying was in the centre of Florence, but like in 10 minutes you're basically here it's kind of, I guess, the suburbs, but it felt like we were in the countryside.
Yeah, and we timed it perfectly to get up to the top of the hill to view the sunset.
Yes.
Was a right old show.
10 out of 10 would recommend.
11 out of 10.
We then found this kind of like, I don't know if I even want to tell people, because I don't want to gatekeep, but also like I don't want to ruin it for people.
Little rose garden, just a little step down the hill.
Yes, I think we should leave it there, and if you want to go, I'm going to be really annoying to say, do your own research, but it's so quiet and full of locals that I kind of almost don't want to tell you where it is.
Dinner was at this really nice, not overly fancy, but like really casual.
It was fancy in decor though.
It was, but it's called Cinque Cinque, and it was like traditional Tuscan food, stews and hearty food rather than like fresh pastas.
Yes,
stuff like that.
and completely vegetarian with not a lot of vegan options, but the pictures in the video doesn't do it justice. Like, this was one of the best meals of our 2 weeks. Like,
it was so good.
Just really beautifully cooked vegetables, and like you wouldn't think that some chickpeas and Swiss chard was like anything to write home about, but it was really good food.
In a little break from the Italian classic way of eating, we went to another place the next morning for more of a brunch, much more of a
kind of
we're used to, big plates rather than small little coffees and
it was
stuff like
really
that.
good though. I think there's 3 or 4, maybe more, around the city. They're called Shake, and yeah, loads of vegan options. We got the avo toast. I think this was my favourite with the pesto. Oh no, it wasn't pesto, it was chimichurri.
It was, yeah, spicy.
And then this one was a bit, what was it?
A bit mishmash. It had like sweet and savoury all on the same
frittata
place.
wasn't hitting it, but it was still really good and definitely a good place to go.
And if you're up north in the Shake that we went to, you'll be really close to the Central Market as well, which is just like absolutely rammed to the rafters. All sorts of stuff. We bought, I think, a little bottle of olive oil here as a souvenir to take home as well.
I mean, the thing with most markets, or all markets really, is there's going to be a lot of stuff that aren't very friendly for vegans, like a lot of meat and cheese and fish. But yeah, lots of lovely deli type things that you could definitely have for lunches, or just a nice place to wander around and kind of soak it up, I think.
Yeah.
We're off to join one of the many queues for beans in Florence.
Yes, we're going to go to one of the famed wine windows.
And it doesn't matter what time you pass it, because we live we're staying right next door. There's a queue all hours of the day.
There is.
Except when it's supposed to.
Let's go queue.
Let's go queue. For our last night in Florence, we fancied something super simple. We just wanted a nice pizza because we were heading out on the town.
Yes, in the town.
Kind of, not really. We went to a jazz bar that we found.
It was the grand opening for the season, actually.
Yeah, and so we just wanted to kind of get something that would fill us up. And that was near the jazz club, and they did some good vegan options. It was pretty tasty, nice, really good service.
The jazz club was good as well. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it jazz. It was more like pop kind of stuff.
Poppy jazz, but it was a fun evening.
And it was their opening, so they were going to put on a bit of a night.
Then the next morning we were sadly leaving Florence. We were both quite sad to leave Florence.
I loved Florence.
It was such a beautiful city. But we stopped by this bakery which was recommended to us by our Airbnb host.
Yes.
Some of the best pastries we had in the whole of Italy, I reckon.
Yeah, they were really good.
Really, and not in the centre. It was like a bit of a walk outside the wall. But yeah, hopped in a taxi, which we almost died.
Driving at like 150 miles an hour. It was crazy.
And headed up to the Villa Medici wine estate. It was like literally walking into paradise.
It was the Tuscany that you've seen in all of the postcards and probably every other YouTube vlog you've seen on here and stuff like that.
Yeah, 100%. Like we always knew we wanted to do a wine tour. We did think we would do a few more like tours and experiences. We thought about doing a cooking class, but we couldn't find many good vegan ones, and we didn't want to pay it. Like, they were super expensive, but we thought this was something that was like we didn't know anything about.
It was pretty bespoke as well. Like, to go to what is a historical place, being one of the villas of the Medici family, and then see the vineyard tour at the same time was like a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, and because we were staying there as well, it kind of made sense. But
yes,
just a beautiful day. Like, definitely recommend doing some kind of vineyard tour. I mean, it definitely would help if you had a car. I think next time we come back to Tuscany, we're definitely going to hire a car. We just kind of couldn't be bothered with the faff of it this time.
I think
there's such good trains, but
it would be worth doing like a car trip
around Tuscany, just so you can go to these places a bit more easily and not end up spending €50 on one taxi journey.
Made our own little Tuscan sandwich.
Oh, this was such a dream. Again, red wine with lunch, like...
Red wine with any occasion.
We just really chilled out and enjoyed, hanging out at this lovely villa and cooked another nice dinner. We bought this food at a market near the cafe we went to earlier in the day. Just so nice being able to cook with amazing fresh produce, I think. Yeah,
and actually like being in a space with a kitchen that's like big enough to cook in. It was really nice also, like getting all of the inspiration from all of the dinners that we would had throughout Italy, and then trying that ourselves with the fresh produce that was there. It was very satisfying. It was really satisfying, yeah. And really nice to have some calm after being in two cities, like just stepping back out of that, like slowing the pace down a little bit. We are walking down a very windy road in Tuscany. Yes.
We're on the outskirts of a town called Gressina.
We're going to have to be a bit wary as well as we do this video because the drivers here go about 150 kilometres an hour. The taxi that brought us out here, Fast and Furious movie.
It was. I just pretended I was in a Formula 1 car, closed my eyes and I was like, it's fine, I'm just like being driven around by Lewis Hamilton. The weather is a little bit... It's warm but overcast.
Yeah.
Which is just say a shame because we booked this place for 2 nights, and in my mind I'd kind of like envisioned sitting by the pool and like being very like chilled and enjoying the villa.
I mean the views are stunning.
Yeah.
It's just like you don't necessarily want to sun soak in this kind of way.
Well, there's no sun to soak.
Exactly.
Hopefully it will burn off and then we can get a bit of pool time. The pool also does have a lot of mosquitoes, so
yes.
I don't know if it's going to be like sitting by the pool for a few hours or just like dipping in and then like
going back to the room.
The sun has come out.
It has. The sun has put his hat on.
The shirt's come off.
The sunnies and the hat have gone on.
This walk has been like out of this world.
Yeah, it's like every postcard you've seen of Tuscany. It's just like every corner we go around.
Constant, like every street line.
Let's just stop here for a second and have a little look through these bushes.
For a minute this morning we were like, have we booked the wrong place? Because like, we're only here for 2 nights and it was quite expensive to get here from Florence, even though you can literally see the Duomo from our place.
Yeah, it was like 50 euros to get out here on the taxi. Ooh, I thought that was a big old hornet or something. Scared me. Scared the bejeebus out of me.
Yeah, 50 euros is quite a lot for a 30-minute ride.
23 or something like that.
Compared to British taxi prices. So we weren't like scammed or anything like that, it's just how much they cost. There was a meter ring. It was the same in Ischia, same in Rome. And we haven't hired a car, so we were like, is it worth it coming here for 2 days?
It's been worth it.
The minute we started this walk, it was like literally stunning. And also the vineyard tour we did yesterday, the whole like wine tasting.
And their olive oil is on point. Ooh.
Yeah, that whole day yesterday was gorgeous. Like if you ever come to Florence, Tuscany, so like you have to do a wine tasting, a wine tour, a vineyard, and we're in Chianti, so
Sangiovese grapes from Chianti make a Chianti. Yes, that's what I've learned. They also do grow Merlot and other types, but
it's not a Chianti.
It's not a Chianti.
It's in Chianti.
It's got to be Sangiovese grapes.
Sangiovese. And oh my god, you can see the
Here's the view of the Duomo. There, that should be a better view of the Duomo.
We have seen the Duomo from many different viewpoints.
Yeah.
Right up close, like literally underneath it, from over the river, from on top of the library, different rooftops, from different streets, and now from 16 kilometres outside Florence on a little country lane. I was saying how impressive it is that you can see it from so far away, because Florence is kind of down in a valley essentially, on like a flat plain near a river, and there's all these hills surrounding it he was like, yeah, I guess that's kind of, that's why they built these structures, is so everyone could have seen them, and
the call to God could be spread far and wide.
Very, what's the word? I keep getting it. Omnipotent?
Yeah.
Omnipresent. So it's just like this constant, like, there it is. Oh, absolutely stunning.
Stunning.
And what's nice is we're working up a bit of a sweat, so we can get back.
Jump in the cool pool.
In the pool. Have a bit of a sandwich.
After a short rest, we walked down the hill, which was quite a steep hill, into town to go and get some dinner from Jimmy's Pizzeria, Spaghetteria, or whatever it was called.
Spaghetteria.
It's what it says on the menu, you'll see in a second. We didn't really know the vibe of this place, and when we got there, everything we ordered came out a little bit beige.
It was very much a local, low-key vibe.
And also, it tasted delicious. Like, the potatoes were well sweet.
They were the most incredible potatoes I've ever had. Like, lemony potatoes.
We are doing the last final bits to check out, which is packing up the cases and Freya finishing brushing her eyebrows. We thought now would be a good opportunity to give you a room tour of our villa room here, because when we arrived, we dumped everything down and made it incredibly messy as soon as we arrived. So now it's a little bit tidy.
Yeah, packed. It's looking similar to when we arrived.
Starting with the kitchen? What am I on about? The bathroom.
Double sink.
So this is his and hers. So you go that way, I'll go this way, and I'll meet you in the middle. But we have the freestanding bath here on the other side.
And it's absolutely huge. Like, in this room, when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's nice. And then I got in it and I was like, compared to our bath at home, it's like twice as big. It feels like being in a hot tub.
This is the view out to the pool down there.
You can see Florence over there. It's a bit overcast today, but it's still absolutely gorgeous.
You can see the Duomo from this window.
So tonight's our last night, and it's a little bit bittersweet because obviously we're very sad to be going home, and I'll miss
being on holiday constantly.
Like constant spritzes and going out for meals and like just everything about holiday.
Yeah, I'm just like super grateful that we get the chance to do this. Like, this is my first time in Italy, and it's just been this sort of like massive mega trip going around all of the places that you've been before that you wanted to show me, stuff that we've discovered ourselves.
We went to 3 places.
Yeah, and we're going to be going to a 4th.
You alright?
Thanks for helping.
That's really good.
Best one we've had so far? Really?
Yeah.
This room is really nice. I've only just caught my breath because we're at the very top of the building, and I've been lugging that suitcase all the way up here. There's lots of little like antique-y bits.
Interesting
Spools of
gorgeous papers.
Got the stairs. Mezzanine up here. Let's see what's out the window. I've not looked at this one yet. Really lovely view.
We went to get some lunch, and I've just realised from watching all this back, I don't think I realised how many focaccia sandwiches we were having.
Yeah.
We've literally eaten them like every day for like 5 days. At the time,
Balls.
yeah, but at the time it was like, should we have a focaccia sandwich? Yeah, perfect. What a great idea. And of course, another spritz. Again, I can never get tired of the spritz.
Plenty of ice cream.
Lucca is a really lovely place. It definitely felt like more of the end of the season here compared to the other places because it is smaller.
Yeah, it felt like it was really winding down.
Yeah, I mean, we did go in, but at this point it was like the end of September,
I think there's also something to be said that it was coming towards the end of our trip as well, so we were winding down. Like, it's not like we had the sort of wanderlust of the first few days of the trip.
Yeah, by like the 20th church, you're like, cool, in and out. And the rain also kind of put a tiny bit of a
dampener
on it. But it was a very, again, like a slower pace, nice for us to kind of take stock of like what we've done the last 2 weeks and kind of just be like present and mindful and not be rushing around.
This dinner in pasta was also really tasty.
Again, yeah, I think a highlight, like you said at the time it was your best pasta.
Yeah, it could have been.
I mean, we were accidentally served a litre of wine instead of half a litre. We didn't say anything because we were like,
we paid for the litre.
But yeah, maybe that's where you were like, this is the best pasta I've ever had in my life.
We visited a really cool traditional bakery that morning.
A very local feel. I think a lot of Lucca had that local
It's filled
feel.
with this really nice sort of apple stuff. Every pastry in Italy has been absolutely sugar-coated.
In the article that recommended the pasta place, they were like, pick up one of these and like have it in your bag to snack on throughout the day.
Throughout the day?
Yeah, I mean, this was the mini one. So
Yeah.
then you bought the big one.
So it's like a loaf of bread, kind of, but it's not even a sweet bread, it's just like regular bread, isn't it?
But
And then it's got
sweet
raisins.
glaze.
It's got raisins on it and a sugar glaze.
And it's got aniseed,
Yeah.
fennel seeds throughout it. Well, this is remotely thing that people do here, but is there any way to get this foam out?
I have seen Italian people eating the foam with a spoon.
We don't have a spoon, so we use the
Next best thing.
like a chili.
I don't know.
Again, much like Florence, Lucca was just small enough to walk everywhere, and exploring the streets and getting a little bit lost and just finding what was around every corner was really fun and really novel. It was.
I think this music school was like a bit of a highlight.
Yes.
Just like stumbling upon it and being like, where is this gorgeous music coming from?
Yeah, and we were kind of clutching at straws on things to do on this last day, so we were going to like every little cheap museum we could find.
Yeah, there's the thing with like the day that, because we had a late flight. You don't want to be waiting to get on the plane.
So you're almost filling your hours.
Yeah, but then there's also that balance of like, yeah, you don't want to be waiting, but you also don't want to just be like doing stuff for the sake of it. So it was a little bit of a funny day, the last day of holiday.
Although this tower was a really good use of our time. This was like a really cool
It took a long time to walk up it.
No, it just had amazing views from the top. Like, if anyone visits Lucca at all, it's 100% worth going up. I think there's quite a few towers in the city, just to go and have a little view.
I think also what makes it unique is that it's got all these trees on top.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool and random. And one last spritz. Oh.
Last spritz of the trip. That's the end of the holiday.
That's the end of our time. We had an amazing time in Tuscany. I don't think you can ever spend too much time in Tuscany. I cannot wait to go back and explore more. We only went to like 2 places really, and there's so much more to see. So much more pizza to try.